Alright, congratulations! Welcome to the Frontline family, and here's the key to your brand new 2017 BMW R1200GS Triple Black. The first one to leave here at Frontline Eurosports. We'll be going around the motorcycle in its entirety, focusing on the external components first, and then coming back to handlebar controls and instrumentation last. So let's get started on the front of this motorcycle. The very first thing we do is give a tire safety warning. Ride like you're riding in the rain for the first 50 to 100 miles, as you're not only acclimating to a new motorcycle, but also have a silicone coating on it to help pop on a mold and preserve shelf life. Continuing from there, we have our 19-inch front rim. That is going to be a cross-spoke system, so you can see our nipples here, allowing it to have a tubeless system. Easier serviceability. Our braking system is a Brembo radially mounted caliper with steel braided brake lines from Goodrich and a floating cross-drilled front rotor that is floating. This is our speed sensor pickup cam, and there's our speed sensor pickup for our ABS and our traction control sensitivities there. We are going to have a machine with a suspension called the telelever from BMW that has a monoshock further back in the frame system behind our fork legs here that is going to be separating our brakes from our suspension, giving us an 80% reduction in brake dive, giving us a more consistent feel of the dynamics of the motorcycle. Moving back up to the top side, as we're going to start from the front, work our way back, is our LED lighting. It's going to give us better visibility and make us more visible ourselves. We have a higher mounted snorkel system up here that is going to be for a repositioned air box that is leading our fuel injection module down to the top of the cylinder and our exhaust out of the bottom of the cylinder. This is going to give us a more tight cylinder setup with our exhaust lower, eliminating any residual heat coming to the front of the cylinder, giving us a cooler exhaust valve. We also are going to have a more comfortable legroom element back here where we eliminate the snorkel and throttle body from this area, raising it back to the top. Being a redesigned engine, it is a big part of the redesign is water cooling. We now have radiators, one per cylinder. You'll see those behind these beautiful radiator shrouds that are designed to also deflect heat away from you, or wind away from you, giving you that calm pocket of air when you're riding. You do have an auxiliary fan only on the right side. We didn't short you one, you only get one on the right hand side, sir. This cover back here is going to be our side cover where normally your air box was. It is now where we retain our battery. We have a star tool that will be under the passenger seat that gives us access to that. Below that is our starter motor. And then going down into our brake pedal foot peg assembly, which is a retractable foot peg with a rubber element that can be removed to give us more bite on the foot peg and increase foot peg to seat ratio. Heel guard with rear brake master cylinder with a steel braided brake line going to our ABS module, and our overflow for the rear brake master cylinder, giving us visual level of fluid and fluid clarity. We come back to our new beautifully designed exhaust system with our flapper valves, and right in front of that is our catalytic converter to keep us compliant for 50 states. One of the big things that changed when they went to the water cooling in 13 was that the subframe is a removable element now. It's not a one-piece engine frame, so that allows us to service this machine if we did get out there a little squirrely in the dirt and bent our subframe up. We don't have to do a motor swap. We can just exchange subframes. We also have a prepped machine for the Vario cases with your mount for the bottom part of the Vario case and your top mounts right there built into the machine. Our rear wheel is going to be off the paralever shaft drive, so that gives us our beautiful open look with a single-sided swing arm, and again the cross-spoked rim to keep it tubeless. I love this element of the motorcycle. It is our splash guard, rain guard, mud guard, whatever you want to call it. It is very effective, especially when riding in a group atmosphere. It's going to keep the spray down from blasting them with a lot of water spray when you're riding together, keeping a tighter group, higher visibility, keeping you in a safer element. Our paralever shaft drive system right here is going to be one with a hinged element and a little cushion up here. That's because we have a torsion bar that now allows flexibility in the shaft drive, going away from that old feeling of a straight shaft drive that lifted you up and gave you that cantering feeling when you're accelerating and decompressing your suspension. Now you're squatting and getting a more sporty athletic feel with the paralever suspension. Before I go too far from the rear of the motorcycle, we have an LED brake lamp assembly up top side here with clear turn signals and amber bulbs and illumination for our license plate, another element of being 50 state compliant there. Our passenger pegs can be removed from our removable subframe now. It's easier to see on this side. And we already accessorized your motorcycle with an auxiliary socket for more additional heated equipment. Right above that is where our lock cylinder is for our seat removal. I'm going to go over that with you really quick. First, we're going to remove the rear seat. So if you get your key fob out, press our chrome button on the other side there. It's going to pop our key out. To remove the rear seat, it's very easy. We go a clockwise turn towards the seat we want to remove. So let's do a clockwise turn on that lock cylinder. You'll feel it pop, and you pull your seat on up and out forward. It is an adjustable seat. You can see 2 little holes here and 2 little ridges here for the seat to rest into. The seat is mounted with this component and this component, but importantly is our tool kit. We're going to have an 8, a 10, 13, I'm sorry, I think it's a 14, I apologize, and also 3 different tools right here. We have our star, our Phillips, and what might this be? It's more than just the handle. This is also the removal tool for our oil fill. So we're going to make sure we keep these components with the motorcycle, retaining it with that little strap. And while this rear seat is off, I'm going to place it right here just to give us more room to access the front seat. So now we do a counterclockwise turn to access the front seat. And this is the good stuff. This is where we're going to get into we have our red clip already installed for the Enduro Pro mode that we were talking about. I'm going to go ahead and install that for you, just saying with the street tires on there, don't worry about going into that mode until we get some more TKC 70s or 80s or something more aggressive on there, and we're ready for that because we're eliminating rear ABS and other instantaneous throttle responses. So we have our brain of the motorcycle. Don't mess with that, please. And then we go into the seat height adjustment. You can see all I had to do is push that clip forward, pull that out, so I'll show the H. Over here we have an L for low. Now we have an H for high. We put the seat on the same way. We can canter the seat. We can have low rear, high front. We can have high high, low low, high in the rear, low in the front. We're going to start you out low low to give you the most comfort in the motorcycle. Your build is about the same as mine, so we will keep it where you're going to be the most comfortable starting out with the motorcycle. So, give you your key fob back there, sir. The next thing we go over is our Gear Shift Assist Pro. We have a 6-speed transmission on this motorcycle with 1 down, 5 up. Neutral right there between first and second. This black box on our output shaft is going to give us the ability to clutchlessly upshift and clutchlessly downshift. The way we do that is when we're on the throttle or on the gas, we're going to hold the throttle, giving it mates the throttle, or increasing the throttle, and eliminate the clutch. Don't pull it in. It's unnatural and it'll take a while to get used to, but you'll get used to it. Utilizing the foot pedal, we just shift up to the gears. On a downshift, close the throttle, zero it out 100%. Just step down on it and wait to be surprised. It's very fast, it takes the human air out of it, and also finds the right RPM for you to smoothly slide into the next gear. Then we're going to have our side stand. Our side stand has a safety switch right here. The safety switch is going to be what gives us the cutoff if we try to take off with the side stand down in first or second gear. The center stand does not have any safety switches. We can do what we want when we want on that. The starter relay is under this side cover right here, which is the same access as we had on the battery that we showed on the other side. There's not much else for me to show you over here except for service. We are going to have our spin-on oil filter located here where it's easy to access and not going to get as much oil on our components as we're dropping it. Obviously, drain on the bottom of the motorcycle. So here comes the fun part. Scott, mount your machine for the first time. So jump aboard your triple black and we'll go over the handlebar controls. Very first thing that I like, oh sorry, I pushed that down, sorry. We have ride-by-wire throttle. It's going to be very light and instantaneous throttle response. It's a rheostat in this housing instead of push and pull cables. In front of that is our braking system. The braking system can be adjusted on the fly now. We do not have to stop, pull the lever out, and flip the switches anymore. We can do that on the fly. Pretty much everything BMW is doing is keeping your hands on the controls, which is keeping you safe. Keyless ride, keyless fuel entry, having the cruise control located very easy to access, having our brake lever adjustment, our mode selection, multi-function controller to eliminate moving our hands to the GPS, our knobs to adjust our windscreen. We're not trying to go down the road and take 2 wing nuts out. You know that from your 05. We can't do that going on the road safely. So I want you to put your hand up on the throttles, and we have our heated grip element, so just give it some dummy bursts right now. That's going to be what switches you through high, low, and off. Mode selection. Mode selection is going to give you your rain, your road, your dynamic, your enduro, and your enduro pro. That's going to be changed on the fly. To change them on the fly, we're scooting down the road. We want to activate the menu for the change of the function, and then we select what we want to go to. If we're in road, we'll cycle through dynamic. We would go through enduro, enduro pro, down to rain if it was in a rainy situation. Then we zero out our throttle, just like we're clutchlessly downshifting, and pull our clutch in, let it coast. It takes about 3 seconds, cycles in to the next mode we desire. Our run cycle switch, I love this part of it. We have no more switching back and forth a little knob. It is a run cycle and start integrated right into the same switch. Going over to the left handlebar controls, we know the multi-function controller, all it does is it works our navigation. We have the Nav 5 system on there for us, so you'll be set to operate that without taking your hands away from the controls. If you want to put your left hand on the controls, I want to show you the cruise control, the high beam flash. So you intermittently flash with that, push your finger in and forward, constant high beam. So that's going to give you a visual indicator we'll show you in a second. Cruise control, we take our thumb, slide that switch over to the right, and now you can push forward for set, back for resume. It also attenuates. With this big, beautiful, torquey motor, it really truly stays within about a mile an hour. We've got good mountains and hills around here to go through and test that out. It's pretty dang on precise with its power and torque. To turn that off, you can roll the switch back over. You can push your throttle forward. You can hit any of your brakes or your clutch. The clutch, though, is my favorite. If you listen closely, give it a little. You hear that little micro switch click in? That's enough to deactivate it. A little throttle maintenance on there, 1 degree open just so it's open. Run your finger over it, and the passenger won't be able to tell you're coming off cruise control. We have our hazard lights. We have our trip and information for board computer we'll go through visually in a second. ABS, ASE, that's all on the top. ESA on the bottom. Conventional turn signal location for most motorcycles, not on your 05, you had the paddles, and horn on the bottom. We do have the key fob within proximity, so right now we can test our fuel entry by just pulling that up. Well, it might have it right off. A little bit further burst all the way straight up, gotcha. And that'll bring that open. And that's the key to closing it as well. We want to make sure it's all the way forward, push it down, and let it close. We don't want to close it partially and smack it, because of this little chrome rod right here, we don't want to cause any damage to that, which is part of the keyless ride option. Then, let's start your motorcycle's electronics for the first time. Go ahead and give us a burst, Scott. So now everything's queuing up. You can see all your lights coming on. We're going to have the heated grips first. I showed you where they were, so now you can demonstrate the heated grips. You got your nuclear level, your low level, and back off. Mode selection, sir. We're in road, but we want to go to rain. So we activated, and now we cycle. Enduro, Enduro Pro, and rain. That little plug in the middle, Mark, that means that your Enduro Pro plug is installed on this motorcycle. So the next thing we got is our left handlebar controls. I want you to visually see the high beam, so we can just click that back and you'll see your high beam light coming on the right side of your instrumentation. We can hit the turn signals or the hazards, it'd be easier because then it illuminates both, which is integrated into one. That's different from the 16 and prior. That was one of the instrumentation changes that they made. If you turn that off and hit your turn signals next, you can see it's the same thing. So, it's a little different in your instrumentation. Now everybody's going to ask, why I got orange lights flashing on my motorcycle. You saw me something bad already? Nope, that's just our traction control and ABS telling us that we have not rotated the tires enough to self-check ourselves and verify to the computer that we're operational, so be cautious. We'll go away once you rotate at 7 feet, 7 miles an hour or so. Then, we're going to have our cruise control, which we won't see that actually on our instrumentation until we're rotating and moving. ABS and traction control is where we left off. So we're going to have our 1 second hold of this button for me, sir. Now you can see right there that you turned your traction control off. It's a solid orange light. So that means our traction control is off, but our ABS is on. Scott made the conscious decision to turn this off. Next we do one more constant hold. It's going to be a little bit longer. It's going to cycle you through to where they're both off. Now a quick burst again will turn your ASC, about a 1 second hold. Now your traction control is off, and or ABS is off, and traction control is on. But if you're in a quick situation, or if you're off-road and you turn it to a certain desired location, about to jump on the asphalt again, we just turn the bike off. And anytime we turn this machine back on, it's going to come on in its safest possible ride mode, which is traction control activated, ABS activated. While I have it off, I'm going to show you one more little trick. I'm going to pull the handlebars to the side. I let it get to the stop, pull it back just a slight smidgen, hold that button, steering column lock. Everybody always asks, how do I do a steering column lock without a key? It's still simulating a key in there. And now we have unlocked with a quick burst, and you can turn your machine back on to finish our demonstration of the electronics. So now we're going to get into the ESA. The ESA is very similar to the mode selection. We get a quick burst first to activate it. Now it's going to show ESA menu, normal, single helmet, cycle, hard, cycle, soft, cycle, normal. You'll get 3 different options with your road modes. Your enduro modes only have soft and hard. Now we want to change our preload. We picked up somebody on the back of the motorcycle, so we added additional weight to it. We can activate the menu and then do a constant hold of that button. You're going to see it single with gear first, constant hold again, 2-up riding situation. This cannot be changed on the fly. That can only be changed and stopped in a neutral riding situation, but you can change your damping values on the fly. Next we got our trip and information. The trip is our top board. The info is our lower board. We do use info a little bit though. So let's cycle through the top part. We got trip 1, trip 2. We have our range on tank. We have our setup menu. Rotate one more time. And we have our odometer. That's our starting point. So let's cycle back to the setup menu one more time, sir. Now do a constant hold. That takes us into our menu. We have our GPS time on. Yes, we want our GPS to correlate the time from satellite into our instrumentation so it's as accurate as possible. And now we got your activation there. And you can turn that off if you wanted to, if you want to leave this at a certain time zone, or you didn't want it to flash on your screen, your TPMS or your fuel level warning. So you'd hit the info button, and that'll cycle it on or off. Let's leave it on since we have a GPS. We'll go back to trip and hit the trip menu. Timepiece. Date, EcoSoft on or off. Hit the button on the bottom for me there. Thank you. That's one that you're going to get tired of real quick. At 3,000 RPMs, it comes on with a big arrow next to your gear indicator saying, hey, shift gears for optimal fuel economy. You're not that type of rider, so we're going to go ahead and eliminate that option. Now we're going to trip. We got brightness of the screen that you can rotate through 5 different options. You can cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an escalation of light. Trip menu. Tire pressure monitoring system on or off. That's if you were going off-road and depleting your pressure down under 27 pounds. It's not going to throw a fault light on you there. And then we'll continue through. Our board computer basic or custom. If you hit info, it's going to go to custom. I'm going to show you this. And this is one that's customizable. Go in and exit. Now if we go back in here, we have odometer, trip 1, trip 2, trip A, range, gallons per hour consumption, speed, and your setup again. I'm going to go back in and turn that off so it doesn't overload you with information as you're just acclimating to your new motorcycle. And we'll go into the bottom portion. So now, if you work through the info button, we have our date, exterior ambient air temperature, engine temperature, consumption averages with a circle with a line through it is our average, 2. Now we continue, we have our average speed, tire pressure monitoring system, which you have front and rear tire pressure mounted on here, which will not display until we rotate the tires, kind of like the traction control and ABS. Continue through our oil level and our date. So, we've cycled through all those different options. The last thing really is our multi-function controller, where we can go into, say, well, let's go back just to map right now because we don't have your address in there yet. Rotate that menu up and down. Alright, so you see how we're zooming in and we're zooming out. So rotation up and down zooms in and zooms out. We have 4 different screens. This is the map. We'll go over towards the center of the motorcycle. That's going to switch us over to our compass. Another switch will go through and get us to where we can manually go through different menu options with utilizing the multi-function controller, as you've already quickly found out. And we can go over again, and we're going to slide into multiple, tons of information for us, all kinds of good stuff. And one more slip gets us back to our mat. So that way you can keep your hands on the bike, keep yourself in control of the machine. We do have an accessory socket located up here as well. And give that guy a twist with your left hand. Perfect. It's natural for you to go with the left hand so you can keep your hand on the throttle side and reach up and attenuate that. So at this point in time, we've gone over your 2017 BMW R1200GS Triple Black. Is there anything you want us to go back over again, or that we didn't go over thoroughly enough with you, Scout?
I think you covered it. I'm good.
Woo, are we excited?
I'm ready to roll.
Yes. Oh, well, so is your bike. Your plate just jumped out of my back pocket. It's ready to go on your motorcycle and let you start down the road. So congratulations and welcome to the Frontline family.
Thank you.